Hello there folks, today's short video will be about self-destructive patterns. This is something that is becoming more and more frequent in between people, especially in people whose environment does not support them. There are a lot of things to be discussed about self-destruction, and this video will only cover a bit of that. More to be covered in incoming and, well, next videos. What is self-destruction behavior? Well, self-destruction is all about turning yourself, or at least a part of yourself, against yourself. But the question is, why exactly do people end up doing this? It usually happens, and most often happens, to people who are empathic, because they are surrounded by a lot of people who do not support them. Many people simply get stuck in an idea of comfort and will simply get attached to that idea of comfort. For example, numerous people, even surrounding you, will simply give up on life, and they will prefer living in whatever horrendous conditions they are, just because they don't want to move on, and because there's also a fear of moving on. Even if their life totally sucks, they are okay with that because they are afraid of doing or what could happen if they did more, and their life would or could probably improve. So that is why, as the picture states, self-destructive behavior is reinforcing and easily becomes a death spiral. So by in their lives, not doing anything, they just slumber more and more. It's basically they die each day more and more. And because of that, they start to suffer from feelings of lack. And lack is a great door opener for numerous parasitic entities that latch onto such people. And, well, call them demons, call them whatever you want. Not only demons are parasitic entities, and demons aren't always parasitic entities. These people get affected by such entities who are just curious or even fanatic about experiencing life and about seeing what life is like in this dimension, but they cannot do it themselves. They require people or whatever living being that would simply allow them to. And with people around us, so many of them having feelings of lack, they will automatically invite corresponding entities into their existence. It's almost impossible to avoid. So that is why many people become hatred. They dislike themselves because they don't do anything, but at the same time something within them, either they themselves, because of old programming, won't allow themselves to evolve, or other beings will keep them at such a lower vibration. And these people actually become masochistic. They actually enjoy their pain, and more so than that, they revel in other people's pains. And don't be surprised, such people can be even within your family, deep within your family. And these patterns actually can be taken by the children. It can be taken as family karma, or just by living in that environment, these vibrations interact with your own auric field's vibration. So just by being there, you automatically assimilate them. It's most likely that you've been infected with them ever since you were a child. The child also takes on the patterns of their parents, more or less, even from their mother's womb. And with this, it's going to become very tricky for the person, because they won't realize that until a very long time. They will have disappointments in life, or whatever people actually call as disappointments, because disappointment is something that you believe to be so, and belief is nothing else than accepting something without it necessarily being true. That's what a belief actually is. And to have such beliefs, people usually don't have beliefs, they most likely accept them from others. Most of them are accepted from parents, because when we are young, we see our parents as gods. We see them as our perfect example of how we should become, how we should behave, and we accept their ideas unwillingly. Through the first 7 years, children will not have any filters, and the brain functions at a certain frequency that allows the assimilation of everything around. So, more or less, everyone who is trapped in a job has been tricked by this hideous mentality that if you go to a job, if you go to school, you will, earn money and do everything that you can. But if you look around and open your eyes, you'll see that those people work a job. They are simply depleted of energy. They simply hate their lives, but they would simply not stop it. And that is why it becomes a death spiral. They will simply do whatever it takes to simply conduct self-destruction. They believe that life is not worth living and everything bad happens only to them. But life does not happen to you, it happens for you. And don't forget that we are all facets of consciousness, and our purpose is to experience in the name of consciousness. So therefore, consciousness puts the whole universe at your feet. It's just all about how much you would ask from the universe to receive, because conscious is dependent upon what you perceive. If 12 of us would experience self-destructive behavior in the same way, it would still be different, and consciousness would still be dependent upon what each of us would feel. So therefore, there is no such thing as a good experience or a bad experience. In people, they always come up to these ideas. These ideas always pull them down. Bad experiences, bad people, and everything adds up. The environment that you live in, if it is not supporting you, you will have negativistic tendencies. It is proven that through your auric field you interact with your environment. Everything has a vibration, and you tend to become, it's not obligatory that you become like what surrounds you, but you tend to blend in with the environment. Everyone tends to become similar to their environment. So if it is not suiting you, if its vibration is below you, the question is, what are you doing today to make sure that you simply avoid this? Because the more you do things that don't serve you, the more you will hate yourself, the more you will dislike life, because you're not doing things that you like. If you like, for example, I don't know, programming, and you're doing literature or something completely different, you'll probably not like life as much, because definitely you're not doing the things you should be doing. If you like, for example, going into the army, and you're doing something like agriculture, you're doing things most likely because you have been programmed by your parents, and also you have programmed yourself because you've taken things from your parents. And every time you want to do something, most people will simply pull you down. They will instantly pull you down because they are just like crabs. They will simply keep you down because they don't want to see you win. It is a horrendous reality, but it is the truth. Even in many cases, even your family will pull you down because if you become successful, they will simply be afraid of losing you. And in their lives, they will be left alone, and they also want you to suffer along them. Despite their smiles, despite their always saying that you should settle down, you see, you have to realize in life one thing. Like, everyone in your life is a jackass, everyone in your life is a saboteur, and mostly or almost anyone is the such. Almost anyone in your life, usually you can say that everyone in your life except yourself, is an asshole. It's a reality. Your wife can be, your family can be. So the question is, why are you in that relationship if it doesn't fit you? Is it a codependency? Because if you don't love yourself, then you're definitely not in a relationship. If you don't love yourself, you will draw people who also don't love themselves. And this means one thing: you won't love each other either. It's only gonna be a codependency. You'll want to do things for the other person so that they won't leave you. And the other person will behave the same, and also you will lie yourselves that it is a very good and interesting and loving relationship. And again, it's only gonna be nothing else than your demons feeding the other person's demons, because in the end they are experiencing life through you. The moment you don't like life, there is something within you that tells you that you should be doing something different. So those demons haunting you and stripping you of your energy, making you suffer, and not necessarily and not only demons, it could be your own thoughts that you've thought of, like programmings that you're not good enough, you cannot do that, abundance is definitely not for you. These thoughts, the more you think of such thoughts, they can become almost conscious. They grow like parasites the more you think towards them. And they become stronger and stronger, and that's why they will keep pulling you down. You have to change your patterns. You have to change your beliefs. Because it's only a belief. Like, so many people ask themselves, or actually tell themselves, they are certain that abundance is not for them, but they never ask themselves one simple question. Why do I fucking believe that? It's just a belief. There is nothing that proves it. You don't have any palpable truth that you're not allowed to have money, and that if you have money, you're automatically some evil person, or you're automatically egotistical. In life, you have to become egotistical first, because if you are not okay, if you're not doing good, how can you actually help others? How can you help others financially when you can't provide to yourself? How can you provide others emotionally when you are numb? And self-destruction is only a indicator. The more it exists, the more away you are from what you should be doing. Because feelings are not something that are against you. Feelings are just a pinpoint. You're not doing the right things. And you should be doing the right things. So, a bit enough for today. I will be thinking about making a video on parasitic attachments and how they will influence people, and how they influence people, and how they feed one another, because that's exactly what they do, and that's what people experience. They hate themselves and they feed such parasitic entities who actually feast upon your energy and upon the other person's energy based on the pain that you inflict them. Because when you pull yourself down, you'll most likely pull others down. And if others pull themselves down, they'll most certainly pull you down as well. And they'll also revel in that pain. But they don't revel in the pain itself. They revel in the freedom that they receive for a few seconds, while those entities simply feed upon the energy that comes to them from your own pain and from other people's pains. Because when those beings feast, they simply no longer parasite you. It's like they have, like spiky tentacles within you, and they really hurt. But when they feed, it's like they let loose a bit, and people become really dependent on that, and they become dependent on that because they become numb. One of the aspects of being parasited is that you become numb. You're no longer allowed to manifest feelings of higher vibrations, because feelings of higher vibrations will simply pull those entities away. And you become so obsessed with experiencing something that you will become dependent upon the first feeling good that you will have, the first feeling of good, be it that it derives from killing someone, being that it derives from suddenly having met someone who smiles at you. So basically, everything that is bad stems from this prolonged parasiting. Even yanderes can spawn from this, because they get attached by the feeling that someone gives them when they actually smile. It's that powerful higher vibration aura that they get attracted to, not a person themselves. And many killer minds actually are born because at a certain time they can't take it, and they will simply kill someone because that person happened to be the, not the right person in not the right place. And once they have killed, they have created so much pain that those parasites will simply absorb, and they will let loose while they absorb. And they feel so free, and it feels so good, that they might just become interested in doing that. So it would be a point towards someone's mind becoming a killer mind. And that's how in time a person can turn into a let's say, a serial killer. Now, hope you've enjoyed today's video. I will keep speaking about the such. Whatever can I say? Don't forget that life is awesome, and also so are you. Have an awesome day.